Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you need a website, head over to squarespace.com/PaulMessner and you'll get a totally free trial. Looks like I'm going to have to buy some flowers for the neighbours. We're making a right racket. Joe's on the carpentry. Well, I'll make a racket with this thing. So as you can see, you know, the van's got loads of different weird shapes and stuff where the support struts are, so can't go all the way down with this one because that sticks out further than that one there. So we might end up with little bits of packing here and there to try and make the walls as straight as possible. So these are the screws I'm using again. So these are, I think they're 38mm self-drilling, self-tapping screws. They are a tiny bit longer than I wanted, but couldn't get anything else, so they'll go through the wood and through the metal. So a couple of people have said that we should have put our wiring in before we did the insulation and the vapour barrier. So just through there under the footwell is where the main van battery is. So here we're going to have a little cabinet that's got all of our electrical system in. And then we're going to have some cables running through the cabinets into here, which is where our main kitchen area is going to be. So the wiring for things like the refrigerator, the water pump and the diesel heater, they're all going to be easily accessible down there at the back of the cupboard. The only things that we're going to need wiring behind the cladding is for USB sockets, and we're going to have some LED lights along the top. So all that's going to be hidden behind the cladding, but not inside the vapour barrier. Again, that's so we've got easy access if we want to change anything. Yeah, that's what happens when you do it near the end of the wood. So what I should have done in the first place was drilled a little pilot hole in the wood, and hopefully that stops it splitting.
Health and safety reasons, recommend not holding the piece of wood while drilling it.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Also, countersunk screws are not great for, you know, for screwing on the end of wood like this, because the natural wedge of the screw is what helps force the wood apart, especially when you're screwing in with a grain like that.
Right, we'll split the wood.
That's worked perfect, look. Second time lucky. However, the screw has pulled my insulation out of the way a little bit, so we might need a little bit of minor surgery. Don't like cutting this.
Ooh, I wonder how many comments you're going to get on that.
I know, but got to have your insulation right, haven't you? Look, can't even rip the tape. You're laughing at me?
Nope. Would I?
There we go. That's the battening finish for the sidewalls. Need to have a bit of a tidy up though. Now we're going to be using a bit thicker stuff to make a framework, you know, around the cab area. That's going to form the structure for the cupboards behind the seats. But first up, we're going to get a bit of cladding along this lower half here, so that gets hidden when we start building this frame around the back. So I've pre-drilled these holes so that it doesn't split the wood. So I'm just going to back these off a little bit, because I vaguely remember seeing on a video that it's easier to fit the tongue and groove when the wood's a bit loose, and then when you slotted it in, then nip them up. So a quick thank you to the guys over at Squarespace. Not only have they sponsored today's video, but they've made it really easy for me to run an online business. I've never done anything like website building before, but I found this so easy to use, and whether you're just a blogger or you want to set up a shop, the Squarespace templates make everything a doddle. So if you need a website to launch your own shop or blog, then head over to squarespace.com/Paul Messner. You'll get 10% off your first purchase and a totally free trial. So this is where a workshop would be better instead of a garden wall. But we'll make do. take a little corner out there. Right, so this is where the tough bit is. So we've got to cut the profile around the wheel arch. So what we've done is we've made this perfectly square along here, so it's 6.5 centimetres, this gap from there, and it's the same at the other end. So now that allows me to scribe all the way along here. So now wherever the 6.5 centimetre is on the ruler, if I put a little mark, so here, that's where the start of the curve is. Move along a little bit, put another mark at 6.5 centimetres, another mark at 6.5 centimetres. So again, 6.5, 6.5. Just keep doing this. Now we're on the straight bit, so we should be able to do all the way along here. What was the measurement again?
I think it was 6.5.
Okay.
So just to be sure, what are you measuring that at?
Shut up. So now it's just a case of joining up the dots. And that will give you your profile. Hopefully. That's as long as you've measured 6.5. That's just offsetting for what that gap is there. So I can take these temporary screws out now and cut out the profile. You can see where I've put the marks on, joined it up, so I need to cut that out with a jigsaw. I'm going to take a little bit more out than the line, just so I've got plenty of clearance. Alright, so a moment of truth, let's see if it fits. It's going to be the last one for tonight, so I've had to put the light on to film this. That's not looking bad so far. It's only this end that's the tough bit. So we were working well into the dark last night. That's what we've got done. She's supping tea again, look. So the next job's to fit some kind of frame around the window, I think. And we might move on to that side. And so we've got a little bit of a frame around the window. And the window ledge is going to be a bit of a hatch job really. We're going to have to pack this up, and we're just going to stick these down with Sikaflex, and we've got a nice piece of plain pine as the window ledge. That's all going to be Sikaflexed on as well. It's not load bearing or anything, but that's not going to go anywhere. We've had to build it up a little bit because we want to hide these little bits here that we can't get off, so they're going to be hidden once we've got this in place. That's the stuff we're using. Sikaflex 522, probably a bit overkill for the internal stuff, but gives it plenty of manoeuvrability, and it is flexible, so when you're driving you're not going to get things rattling and creaking. That's what we hope anyway. I'm going to put a good wedge of this stuff on. I don't know how much of this stuff you need, but we don't want the window ledge to fall off, do we, Joe?
No.
Let's get that in the hole. Right, so that's the window ledge in. Just put these little supports in just to hold everything in place. Got the top in as well, and then there's a little frame that's glued in there as well, that's packed out. So we're going to be putting some kind of tongue and groove down there to tidy the edges up. Not filming anymore today, so we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.